Looking for a hard use rifle? This Sons of Liberty Gunworks M4-89 is going to be just what you're looking for. I can't quite guarantee it, but I will say without a fraction of a doubt that it is likely better than any hard use rifle on the market. I know that's a bold statement to make, but this rifle, for what you get and the cost and value and overall build quality with the rifle, is absolutely phenomenal. This particular rifle is the M4-89 variant from Sons of Liberty Gunworks. This rifle is a 16-inch overall length, meaning it is pinned and welded with their Knox muzzle device on the front end here. So it is a 14.5-inch barrel pinned and welded. The barrel itself from Sons of Liberty Gunworks is going to actually be a stainless steel QPQ treated barrel. It is a mid-length gas system with a gas block up here on the front that they purposely do not pin. However, it is actually dimpled so you can pin it. The screws themselves, set screws per se, they are dimpled and put in place. The handguard itself, being the M89 handguard, is absolutely rock solid. Pick a name brand high tier AR, and I would ration to believe that this handguard on here is more durable and, let's say, rigid than all the other ones on the market. It is flat out bomb proof. It's extremely stiff, it's rigid. I can't sit here and tell you this is the lightest weight rifle on the market. However, it is definitely built for hard use due to how they go through this rifle and the abilities, which we will get into here. The handguard itself is a wedge lock design where you actually have 3 screws up here in the front that, as they get tightened onto the handguard and the handguard onto the barrel nut, it starts to wedge it against the receiver, and then there are anti-rotation tabs. The handguard has M-lock slots at 3, 6, and 9 o'clock, and then there's just more M-lock slots up here on the front for mounting your lights like this HRT Tactical AWLS that we have up here. On the rifle itself, on the sides here, again, like I said, you have M-lock. It's lightened as well, and then full-length Picatinny all the way across. And then you'll see up here, there's actually an M-lock QD attachment that comes with the rifle when you purchase it. I do have an LWS sling lock, which is a sling retention device for my sling. Back here on the rest of the rifle, it's pretty generic for the most part. Now, with that being said, I mean that in the fact that it's not a full ambi rifle. So it doesn't have an ambi bolt release, it doesn't have an ambi bolt catch, okay? Or it also doesn't have an ambi mag release. Now for myself, having, let's say, grown up shooting ARs and starting out my career in law enforcement shooting ARs that didn't have that stuff, it's not a deal breaker, and I also don't personally care for it. I don't need them. I've just learned to shoot them without that stuff, and it doesn't have it. Are they nice? Sure. Does this have it? No, it does not. However, the bolt catch or bolt release itself works very nicely. It's positive, it's audible, works well. The mag release itself also works just like you would expect. I have a little over 2,000 rounds now through this rifle, and it shoots fantastic. It's been 100% reliable with 0 issues and 0 cleaning so far. I have lubed it and taken care of it in that respect. All the parts on here, for the most part, with the exception of the furniture, Sons of Liberty Gunworks. So it's the safety selector switch on here is going to be from Sons of Liberty Gunworks, 50-degree ambi safety selector. Works nicely. It has a shortened side on the right side of the gun, and then the left side of the gun itself is full length. It's easy to hit, easy to grasp. I have no issues with that. It doesn't come down and it does not hit my trigger finger on my right hand. It is very positive and audible as well. Now the trigger is going to be their Liberty Fighting Trigger. The Liberty Fighting Trigger is what they dub it as about 6 pounds, and I'd say it's about 5.5 to 6 pounds for sure. It's not any heavier than that. If you're familiar with like mil-spec triggers, you're familiar with the triggers that Daniel Defense uses in the majority of their rifles, it's not those. It's way better than those. If you're familiar with the BCM trigger, it's similar to that. However, what I'll tell you is that the trigger itself will show you out on the range, it is a more crisp break. There's no creep in it whatsoever, and it breaks crisp and clean. It has a very audible and tactile reset. Lots of force in there, which they purposely put in here, and the owner of Sons of Liberty Gunworks, Mike, he's talked about how they did that on purpose so that it's a very reliable trigger system in here and will always punch primers whenever you need to on the hard stuff or the crappy ammo. The furniture on here, B5 systems on here, B5 stock, and then on the back end here is the buffer system. The buffer system is going to be the A5 buffer system from Viltor. Viltor's buffer system, the A5 system, works really, really well. It helps keep this to be a very flat shooting rifle. And in addition to that, the rifle is not overgassed, it's not undergassed, it's gassed just right with that mid-length system. And the whole system as it sits stuff goes together nicely to be a very smooth operating and very reliable system. And it also has a very, very strong ejection pattern, which is really great to see when you're looking for hard use, duty, let's say rifle. But you know, Sons Liberty Gunworks, they say specifically they build these rifles for civilians. Lots of law enforcement agencies have picked these up. I love this rifle myself. Chances are it's probably going to find its way to be a duty rifle for me. And in addition to that, become, let's say, my primary training rifle. Yes, I love my Mitchell Defense SOIDC, but that rifle for me is kind of more like a special purpose rifle. And this rifle is more like a hard use, duty battle rifle for me. Few features left on this thing. The ambi charging handle on here is going to be from Sons Liberty Gunworks as well. The biggest difference with this ambi charging handle in general from a lot of the other ones, specifically Radian, is the wings on it, or where you actually grab the levers. They're metal. They're not plastic. They're not polymer. Now, do I think that's a huge issue? No, because Radian has proven that their charging handles are very good. However, again, another reason these are built for hard use. Their castle nut on the rear here is staked 3 times, not just 2, but 3 times. And then in addition to that, the receiver set, there is absolutely no wobble in this thing whatsoever. It's fit perfectly. Some ARs you're gonna get, some ARs you put together, you will see that. This just doesn't have it. There's no wobble in it whatsoever. It's just built and fit really well. Not a lot of frills on the rifle. You know, for me personally, will I end up keeping this trigger on this rifle forever? Probably not. Just because I generally speaking, I happen to like lighter triggers. But the trigger itself is very serviceable. It's good. It's better than any mil-spec, and I don't think it has to be changed. The fit and finish of this rifle is really where it sets it apart from the majority of the other manufacturers in the market. There is nothing wrong with it, and that is because of their quality control process that they go through at the factory. Their rifles all get test fired twice in the factory. First upon like initial building without all the stuff on them, and then finally before they go out the door in the bolt carrier groups also get test fired. Everything gets test fired. Quality control process is very, very stringent. On top of all the stuff that comes with these rifles, you are going to get 3 steel magazines that come from Sons Liberty Gunworks. They are made by them. They have the anti-tilt followers in them as well, like the Magpul stuff. You get a small copy of the United States Constitution. You get a lifetime warranty certificate that covers every aspect of this rifle, even a little bit of negligent use. In addition to that, Sons Liberty Gunworks will replace your rifle if you're involved in a self-defense or law enforcement shooting with your AR. Couple last things you get with them: cool sticker, large one there from Sons Liberty Gunworks, and then you're also going to get a test fire casing and a patch. And then finally, what I think is not a huge deal, but it's nice to see because the majority of ARs in the market come in a crappy box. You're going to get a nice soft case that holds your 3 magazines, all this stuff in there, little band on there. And then finally, guys, let's talk about the price. I paid $15.74 out the door, tax, shipping, FFL fees, and all that for this rifle. The quality that I'm seeing with this rifle at that price is phenomenal. I got a few bucks off for being law enforcement. Glad I did, but even then, I think the normal retail on this particular rifle, what I saw was close to about $1,700. So it's a good deal overall for everything that you're getting, and a rifle that's built for hard use. So enough talking about this darn thing. Let's get out on the range and shoot a little bit, and then we'll give you guys some final thoughts. With this Sons Liberty Gunworks rifle, this M4-89, because it's gassed properly, it's weighted properly with the A5 buffer system in here, it just shoots really flat. And when I need to come back, or like let's say return back to where I came from, it's just always there. It just doesn't move. The rifle just doesn't move when I'm shooting, and it's really nice, especially for follow-up shots, or like if I'm sitting here and I'm shooting this Jawless Hog tactical target and shooting the T-box in the head. It's simple. And like, let's say to flip headshots on here, it's just super easy to do because the rifle just doesn't bounce around. I can't sit here and tell you that obviously there's no recoil because that's not the case, but overall, just because of how it's just gassed and weighted properly, it's just really flat shooting, frankly. And in addition to that, what I really like about the safety selector on here is that it's probably the only one I've ever used personally where I liked it more or enjoyed it more or felt it easier to use than the Radiant stuff. This is a 50-degree throw, but it's very, very easy to hit, very easy to use on both sides, and it's a good length. I'm not a big fan of having like shorter ones on one side, like for the right-handed shooter for myself. Of course, on the opposite side for me, I do like that, but on this, no issue. I really like how that feels. Right now, under fire, I want to actually walk you guys through how the Sons of Liberty Gunworks fighting trigger is. It is, let's see, right there. No creep. Reset. Hear that audible positive reset. The trigger itself, it doesn't have any creep whatsoever. If you're familiar with like a mil-spec trigger, they have a lot of creep. This does not have it. I'd say it's probably about 5.5 to 6 pounds. It's not like a 7.5, 8 pound mil-spec. It's that polished nickel Teflon style. So very similar like BCMs, but I'd say that this is a little bit more crisp and a very good tactile feel. It's a good duty trigger. As you guys know, 5.56 223 doesn't recoil a lot in general, but the gas system being a mid-length on here, the Nox muzzle device, A5 buffer system, which has always been a smooth operating buffer system, BCM uses it in a lot of their rifles, really makes this for a very flat shooting rifle. So I hope you guys can see it. You'll notice too that although it's a very flat shooting rifle, you're not sacrificing that ejection pattern. It has a very strong ejection. It really kicks that brass out of there. And this rifle this is a very dirty gun right now. I have lubed it. I've added lube to it just because I'm going to take care of my rifle. But overall, it's very, very flat shooting. The Sons of Liberty Gunworks M4-89, for me, has proven itself to be probably my #1 choice for a hard use duty rifle out of all the rifles I've ever shot. It's just built really well. They say that they build these for civilians, but I mean, for the love of God, they are doing one heck of a job at building a hard use rifle. The Sons of Liberty Gunworks rifle is just all out quality. It's not really a ton of frills. It's just built for hard use, and it lives up to that. So if you guys like these rifles, you like what you saw today, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.